Can't believe those boys at Kotaku is up to again. Look at this article that came out today after the Google I/O event. Google shares nothing new about Stadia I/O, signaling its impending doom. And just read this unbelievable article, will you? It's by Kotaku, bro. Not sure who that is, but here's what he said. Here at Kotaku, we have nothing better to write about. So here's a completely speculative piece with absolutely no sources whatsoever. We can't even pretend like we know what we're talking about anymore. We do think Stadia sucks, but here at Kotaku, we've never actually tried something, nor have never not cared about a service that people play their video games on. Clearly, our biggest problem is that we irresponsibly deliver op-ed pieces as fact, and when we try to wonder why lawyers have no idea if Stadia still exists or not, we fail to realize that they think this way because we, as gaming journalists, make the public believe that Stadia is all but dead. Go Team Kotaku! If I have to explain that I just changed the way the web page looked, that was not real, obviously. But hi, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video, as it does help others find us just like you did. Let's talk about the bevy of news we've gotten over the last 24 hours or so. This week on Stadia, well, in certain respects from me, more Ubisoft sales. That's cool. Ubisoft is very a big supporter of the platform, but their games are constantly on sale. So I mean, this is kind of like a been there, done that, if you will, of the this week on Stadia. But if you are a fan of God's Will Fall, there's a new expansion coming out, and in fact, I do believe it's available already. And Outward also has a new expansion coming out as well, and you can purchase that today in the Stadia store for $19.99 US. Now, here's something that's kind of weird. So usually in these little things here, I'll scroll down a little more so you can actually see it, where it just shows that the Assassin's Creed games are on sale on Stadia. Underneath that, it does say everyone can save with these deals on the Stadia store. Now, it's cool that it's getting to a point where if they listed all this would be a long article of new sales that are out on the platform. There was a time when they would post literally every single one. Now, I will show you some of the highlights here, thanks to our friends over at Stadia Source. And since most of my audience is American, I will show the American currency of this, but I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm just going to kind of highlight the best of the best, in my opinion. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fantastic game. $47.99 for the Ultimate Edition. I believe it has been cheaper before. I believe it's been down to $30 at one point. So it's up to you if you want to wait until it gets even cheaper, or if you want to just jump into Ubisoft Plus, you can kind of make that happen that way. Valhalla, that's starting to find its way towards the lower end of pricing. $35.99, not bad for the Stadia version. The Ultimate Edition finds itself at $71.99. Assassin's Creed Origins, also another good entry in the series. It was kind of the big foray into the RPG side of things, so that's kind of the introduction to that. Destiny 2, obviously continuing its sale. I believe, no, there doesn't. I don't know why this kind of tricked me. I thought there's even bigger discounts now. It's like, nope. Missed. But Doom and Doom 64 and Doom Eternal have all found themselves on sale as well. Fantastic games in the series. The EA Sports titles, so FIFA and Madden, are on sale for $20. Immortals and Just Dance, as a part of the Ubisoft sale, are also on sale. The Lara Croft games, these are fun twin-stick shooters. Temple of Osiris is cheap. I believe these games have both been on Pro at one point. I know Guardian of the Light, I believe, did go Pro. I did buy it just for it, and finished it in about 4 hours. It is a short game, so the price you're getting with that is, I think, a perfect price for the amount of time you'll spend with it. Avengers, the game that I wish would just be even better than it is. It's not. $23.99 is the current asking price, down from the $39.99 typical price. Outriders has found its first sale on Stadia, down to $45. Still kind of lagging in the updates on that side of things. The Tomb Raider series has a couple of discounts. Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration is down to $5.99, and the Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is down to $15.99. And of course, I cannot stress how much the Division 2 is a fantastic series. Absolutely 100% recommend picking that one up on sale if you can already. A big piece of news that you might have missed over the last couple of days is the fact that Stadia is no longer going to be publishing Outcasters, and that shouldn't be too big of a surprise if you've been following the news as of lately, due to Stadia shuttering down the SG&E studio, the first party arm of Google Stadia. And this is Outcasters making their official note here. This was an email sent out to Stadia users over the last couple of days. Here's what they said. As per yesterday's email, War Chest Ltd., which is a splash damage company, will become the publisher for Outcasters beginning May 31st, 2021. You'll be greeted with a new EULA to agree to when you next boot the game after this date. Now, long story short, if you don't feel like reading this, and you could probably read it if I actually kind of blew that up a little bit better for you to see, it's pretty much saying that nothing's changing for you on Stadia and just keep playing. Just accept the new licensing agreement and you're good to go. Now, what this really means is there's a possibility, since this game is technically reverting to splash damage as its own IP now, is that we might see Outcasters show up on other platforms. That's promising if you're thinking about crossplay and things of that nature. This game, I think, would be a perfect free-to-play title anywhere. Throw crossplay in the mix is a great game to put on the Switch, I think. And then if you can somehow implement crowd play into the others, that'd be awesome. I don't know how you could pull that off without endangering some possible copyrights and patents and whatever may come across with that way. Of course, you can add Twitch to the mix, and that might be a way to get around it. But that being said, it'd be cool to see Outcasters find its way in a cross-platform style. I don't think it was ever going to be that killer app that Stadia was looking for. I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like, no, splash damage, I know what you're capable of. This just wasn't what I was expecting from you. And I think they did themselves a hindrance by... I was about to say, no, they did do free to play right out the gate, because Stadia Pro, you got it for free. So I was about to say, should have been free to play. It already was. But that was if you had the subscription to Stadia Pro. That being said, this could flourish on other platforms. Don't know. I want to know what you think. Do you think Outcasters is going to find a good home elsewhere to bring more players into the Stadia version of the game? Or have you just kind of ignored Outcasters this entire time? Well, let me know. Now, let's take a look at some really cool stuff here. Now, we kind of poked fun at Kotaku right at the beginning because they've been poking fun at Stadia for the last 18, 24 months or so. Now, the consistent joke out there in the world is that, oh, all 5 Stadia users are really going to love this. Well, you should know there's obviously more than 5 Stadia users. They're being facetious in a way, but this is kind of cool. This isn't really indicative of how many people are truly playing on the platform. Of course, just downloading an app doesn't really necessarily mean that many people are using it, but at least that means people have been interested enough to try it out. So at least 3 million people on Android have found themselves on Google Stadia at some point. Now, of course, you're going to have some duplication. Like me personally, I have phone, tablet, laptop, computer. So Stadia exists on multiple devices for one person, just myself. And I know I'm not the only one that has that. Granted, there's not 100,000 of us that have the whole market share of 3 million people. So they do split off with the different regions out there that do download from the Google Play Store. I'm not going to read through this article. I thought it was kind of a cool thing to point out there. Of course, the games are continued to come to the platform. We just got a few new games that were rated by the ESRB. You can go over to stadiasource.com and find out exactly which games those were. This is promising, though. We're up to 3.2 million downloads 18 months after launching. And for a platform that had its fair share of negative hit pieces out there almost week after week after week, for it to thrive so well, apparently, that's very promising. Very promising to see. Of course, the US leads the way with almost half of that, with 1.6 million. So doing pretty good, I would say. Last thing I want to point out, and this is kind of IO related, not really because it wasn't discussed at IO. This was brought up on the Stadia subreddit that someone had found, is that Stadia appears to be running in Chrome under the Android 12 public beta. Now, what this is kind of signifying, if you use the iPhone Stadia app, this will probably look extremely familiar to you, because this is almost exactly how you experience Google Stadia when you're actually playing Stadia on your iPhone. Now, what Google has mentioned, and this is not a surprise, it's a surprise that it's running this way already in Android 12 public betas, but this is their way to kind of migrate the app into a PWA, progressive web app. And this allows companies, whether it's Google themselves or another company that does something called a PWA, it allows for much faster updating and better synchronicity across all devices. Now, when you have the Stadia official app in, say, the Play Store, you got to run so many bug fixes through so many different versions of Android, as well as maybe other devices too, whether it's tablets and what have you. PWAs, these kind of run off just your web browser. And this makes the whole process much simpler. It's going to make the developer spend less time worrying about crap, whether it's just fixing things, updating things, adding different features. This is going to be as simple as that, and it's going to make their whole experience much better, and they're going to be able to bring out updates more frequently and hopefully have a much more one-to-one user experience across all different devices for Stadia, whether it's your PC, your phone, or the Chromecast experience itself. I have been a big proponent of making the UI a better UI. Of course, that's easier said than done. Specifically, it's the Chromecast one. I'm okay with the PC and the mobile UIs. It is what it is. But the Chromecast one, that's gotta go. The whole line of games at this point, I don't have the most games out there. I probably have between 60 to 80 games, if not maybe a little more. But there are people that have games in the hundreds, and I can't imagine spending the whole time if you're trying to get to the end of the game. Granted, you could say, hey, Google, open this, or just use your phone to open it, but still make the user experience a little better on that end. But what do you guys think of all of the news? I kind of did a quick rundown of it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. If you have any comments on this video, this type of content, let me know. And of course, like this video. It does help us out. And we'll be back as much as we can. We got some fun stuff to talk about here in the future. And with the summer coming up, Summer Game Fest, E3, we're going to finally find out some big titles that's going to be coming to Stadia in the second half of the year, because I think it's right now what people are chomping at the bit for. What do we have to look forward to from now? Because if I'm just thinking about it out loud, I don't know what games that are coming out besides Far Cry 6 what's really coming out. Like, if we're just thinking here, and if we go to the Stadia Source website, we can look at upcoming games here. And Chris Tales, I've been extremely looking forward to that. And of course, those are two games I've been looking forward to. The Mafia series, we haven't heard anything about in a long time. But I mean, if you're talking about absolute top of the line bangers, Life Strange, that's going to be fun to see. There's nothing that's probably jumping out right at you that probably A, couldn't have been somewhere else, or B, it's just not the top of the AAA lineup. Of course, Humankind's a big game from Sega that they've been working on for some time. But what are you looking forward to, at least on this list, as I scroll down a little bit so you can see more? Me personally, I mentioned Chris Tales. Looking forward to that. Bloodstain, that's going to be awesome to have on the platform. I forgot it's coming. Ark, we should be hearing more about that next week, because they got some new DLC or new season starting next week, and it mentioned Stadia specifically having that expansion on that date. So should be expecting more about Ark. Remember, that's going to be a Stadia Pro game when it does launch, as previously mentioned in the Good Stuff event. I believe that was the 3-day event they did a few months back. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, like this video, subscribe, all that fun stuff. In the meantime, thank you for your support, and we will catch you down the road. Thanks again for watching. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Of course, hit that bell notification so you get up-to-date notifications on when we go live with a brand new video. We also do all our Stadia live streams here on this channel as well. So again, that will get you notified when we go live every single time. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, because how more Stadia fans will find this content just like you did. And if you like this video, you might like this video up here, and you might like the video underneath it. So go ahead and check those out. And in the meantime, always, thank you for your support.